cooled air that moves up into Winston County and Cullman County. Of course, that boundary is becoming a little more diffuse as we're seeing some daytime heating. Let me pop on the temperatures here and let you get a look at that. What we have seen is that we've had a big warm-up. It's up to 82 now in Birmingham. We've got 79 at the Jasper Airport, 79 over in Hayden, 79 at Pleasant Grove. It's in the 70s over at Millport. But when you get to the north here, Haleyville and Cullman are a little bit cooler. It's 66 up at Cullman. So there is a rain-cooled boundary somewhere between Jasper and Cullman, somewhere between Haleyville and Jasper. I would say roughly Double Springs down toward Houston, somewhere in there. We have a boundary. Anytime storms cross boundaries, that's those mesoscale issues that we talked about the last couple of days. If you've kept up with the more technical discussions on the weather blog, we've talked about how a synoptic setup or the weather maps can tell us that we have potential there. You can have potential all day, but it takes those small scale or mesoscale features to get these thunderstorms to actually produce tornadoes. So there's one there that we know for sure somewhere in either northern Walker or southern Winston, because we're a little bit few and far between with our data reports in that part of the state. We don't know exactly where it is. So as it crosses a boundary, somewhere in Walker or Winston County, there's an even higher potential for a tornado there. And just based on the way that storm looks, it has a fairly high potential of producing something because of the strong hook echo that shows up. Looking at it from the Birmingham radar there, this is the look from Columbus, Mississippi, from the technically called the Greenwood Springs radar, GWX.
Where's that other video from?
I was just about to ask, where's that video?
Let's see, if that's coming off the MacBook Pro in the office, and it is, that is John Brown's stream. John, I believe, and again, we're getting the Skywatchers in place. John and Mike Wilhelm are together, and I do believe that they are located in Pickens County near Gordo, okay? So, you know, the way this thing works, these storms today will be popping up in random locations. You know, people ask, I need to know an arrival time in my hometown. We can't give you one because these pop up at totally random locations, and they will be moving northeast. There will be multiple storms like this. We can give you a window between now and midnight tonight. So that's the deal. And again, that is a very impressive looking couplet. So again, the streaming video you're seeing coming from John Brown is near the Tuscaloosa-Pickens County line. And so in the storm that's on radar is the storm which we have a tornado warning, and right now just one warning, and that is in effect for Walker County. So if you're just joining us, it's 2:17, and understand, I'm afraid this might be a day where Jason and I and Ashley and the group will be on television maybe for 10 hours or more. So a lot of regular programming will not run today, and we apologize in advance for that. But again, we've got circulation that is now coming up across the northwestern part of Jasper. And again, so everybody in the city limits of Jasper and points west and north, you need to be in a safe place. And if you're new here, many people move here and this whole thing can be horrifying. If you take some simple steps, you'll be fine. Number one, you have to be out of a mobile home. There is no choice. You have to be out of a mobile home if today you come under one of these polygon tornado warnings. And we'll be calling out specific locations and neighborhoods and landmarks that you'll understand. And if you are close to any of those we call out, and you know you're in that polygon, you'll need to go to a more substantial shelter. And everybody that lives in a mobile home in this state should have a plan on what to do, whether it's 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, weekday or weekend. The other place you don't want to be is a car. A large percentage of the people that die in our state from severe weather outbreaks like this are in mobile homes or cars. But on a day like today, with potential for large violent tornadoes, even site-built homes, you've got to do the right thing. And by that, we want you in a lowest level, basement if you've got one. If no basement, first floor is fine. Small room, that's a hall, closet, bathroom. You want to be away from windows and near the center. Don't worry about northeast or southwest corners. Forget all that. Just be near the center and you'll be fine. The most important thing is the lowest level. And you can see that we have no other storms in progress that are severe. There's some rain falling in Anniston and Gadsden, some showers here. And if you've been watching the Facebook and blog posts, you know, we said any of these storms could erupt and go severe in a heartbeat, and that's what's happened. And again, Jason is highlighting these other storms that are forming in this region. And again, that's the storm right there that's coming up through Jasper. That's the one that initialized west of Tuscaloosa. So again, let's go for a closer look, and we'll keep watching. And again, because of the damage to the infrastructure we suffered this morning, we're going to have a lot of power issues and communication issues. This will be a challenging, severe weather event. A lot of people are watching this via their smartphones because they have no power. And again, if you are in that situation, you know, I hope you charged your batteries because we might be on the air for a long time. But again, back in the right rear flank of this storm, we have the possibility of a tornado that's just west of downtown Jasper. And again, a very strong velocity couplet. That's about as strong as they get. And again, and this is Columbus or Birmingham?
That's Columbus.
Okay, this is coming from Columbus Air Force Base in Mississippi. Okay, so that's the situation there. Green, those are the inbound. Red, those are the outbound pixels. And that's going to be scooting across the northern part of the city limits of Jasper. And again, you can see now the couplet is showing up north of downtown Jasper by maybe about 3 miles, pretty close to Manchester. And again, this is the split. That's 257 that goes up toward Curry. That's 195 that goes up toward Double Springs. And that will be continuing to move pretty much up in this direction toward Curry. So the danger now is in the northern city limits of Jasper. And again, that will be moving northeast. And ultimately, it will be crossing over into Winston County. This is the county line. That's 257 right here. Now, of course, this is Smith Lake, one of the largest lakes. It's got these big fingers that spread out across parts of Cullman, Walker, and Winston counties. But that is a clearly dangerous storm that will be coming up here very close to Curry. So again, clearly, if you are in Curry all the way down to Jasper, you need to be in a safe place. Now, in about 3 or 4 minutes, we can give Jasper an all clear. But that will be coming up right toward the middle of Curry, which is right here. And anybody on the western shore of Smith Lake, on the Winston County side, the Walker County side, you need to be in a safe place right now. It looks like this circulation could go right on top of the lake. And, of course, for the few moments in which it's over the body of water, this thing becomes a water spout. Then it's going to exit Smith Lake and then come up into perhaps Cullman County if this thing continues on that track. And unfortunately, this is not one of these days where these will weaken. If anything, they'll be getting stronger as the lift increases with the dynamics approaching from the west. The temperatures continue to warm. The instability increases, and again, a lot of the severe weather parameters are just off the charts today. The STP, the Significant Tornado Index, we've seen values like we don't see these values. We've seen the Supercell Composite Index, and that's the combination of lift, instability, and shear. So everything is in place, and again, that's going to be coming right up toward Curry, which is right here, and then coming across the southern part of Smith Lake, the southern and the western part. We encourage everybody around the Smith Lake Dam and points north to be in a safe place. And I said the western shore, really anybody around the whole southern part of Smith Lake, even on the eastern shore, you want to be in a safe place as well. Even if we don't have a tornado, this storm is capable of knocking down a lot of trees with strong straight line winds as the storms move through here. So again, Jason, at this point we're looking for ground truth, and most of our folks are not on this storm. They position themselves, and I think where John and Mike are is a great spot over there near Gordo, near the Tuscaloosa-Pickens County line. We'll see more issues for him, but with our other sky watchers, we have not seen any specific reports of any damage from this storm. And another thing, Jason, this is going to be an odd day. It's going to be hard determining, separating the damage this morning from the damage that occurs this afternoon. I mean, we've had so much damage from this morning. All right,
and with the situation as it is at this moment, with no reported damage around Walker County, doesn't mean it hasn't happened. In fact, earlier this morning when the storms came through Jasper, it was more than an hour before we were able to actually find out the kind of damage that had happened in Jasper and Cordova and around the rest of Walker County. And it was up to an hour and a half before we really realized how bad the situation was in Cullman County after the system passed through there. James mentioned the conditions around the rest of the state. Let's look at that Tuscaloosa Skycam. This is far south of our tornado warning, but it's 83 degrees with a dew point of 71 and a southwest wind at 14. The peak wind gust of the day showing 43, but that was after we had a power hit. We lost the data from the big wind that came through with the storms earlier this morning. And there are storms developing over North Tuscaloosa County right now. I want to go back to the radar, though, and there is a very impressive signature here on radar. Tornadoes have a signature that is like none other. When you see a hook echo that's like that one, it's almost a C shape just north of downtown Jasper, and it's really north of the...
Sorry, just got a tornado warning for Cullman now for the storm.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's just an extension of that warning, and this time it'll be the western side of Cullman County. Unfortunately, Out around Bremen and Brushy Pond, there was extensive damage earlier this morning. So if you know someone there, there's a chance they don't have electricity. There's a chance that they don't have any way of getting a warning. So if you know somebody that lives on the southwestern part of Coleman County, out around Brushy Pond or Trade or Ardell or Smith Lake Park, West Coleman, West Point, Jones Chapel. Same thing in northern Walker County, Boldo and Manchester and Curry, and then southern Winston around Arley. If you know somebody there and you are sure they're without electricity, call them and let them know. Send them a text message, get them some way of knowing that there's a tornado warning there and there's a possible tornado that's just north of Jasper, moving northeast. It's going to clip all three of these counties. It's in northern Walker now. It'll cross over southeast Winston and wind up in southwest Coleman in a matter of about 5 or 10 minutes. They'll likely be preceded by some heavy rain, maybe some hail, some strong gusty winds, and then the tornado will be on the back side of that. And James, we're talking about no ground truth with this one yet. We do have ground truth that a tornado is in the city limits of Decatur. I've seen that on Twitter from a couple of reliable sources that a tornado has been sighted within the city limits of Decatur up in North Alabama. Our environment here is much, much more conducive to tornadoes than it is up in Decatur and Morgan and Limestone and Madison counties. So with what we see on radar there in Jasper, even though I don't have a confirmation of a tornado on the ground right now, I would suggest that you need to be in a safe place immediately. Don't wait on it. We've already had some rough weather this morning that looked nothing like that on radar. This is the classic supercell. It's out by itself. It's intensifying, and it's about to cross that boundary, that mesoscale feature we talked about just a few minutes ago. And when it does that, it has a much higher probability of producing a tornado. We're looking for any kind of report that you can give us. If you have a picture you want to send, please don't stand on the front porch and watch the storm come in. Wait until the storm has passed. We'd much rather see a damaged picture as opposed to a storm coming at you kind of picture. We don't want anybody putting themselves in jeopardy with the storms as intense as they can be today, and especially with the fact that most of our tornadoes in the south end up being rain-wrapped. Our tornado warning extends all the way to the western side of Coleman and up toward the area just west of Battleground near the Winston County line. All of Smith Lake is included in this, so there's a tornado warning literally from the Smith Lake Dam out through almost every finger, slough, and main part of the body of the lake. So if you are in an area there where some of your neighbors may not have a way of getting these warnings, that's one of the things we've got to stress today is we've all got to work together to make this warning process work due to the damage that we already had this morning. Let's look at the stats on this storm. The tornado vortex signature is still there based off the Columbus, Mississippi radar, and we have a Titan impact number of 8. Let me retry that to make sure we can get it all on the screen. A significant tornado index of 11.7 and a tornado impact of a 4.6. Back on April 15th, we were seeing numbers around 9 and 10. We've never seen an 11 or a 12 until this moment on that significant tornado index. So in Jasper, in Walker County, if something's likely going on there north of Jasper. But if you're in Jasper or Townley or Parrish or Cordova or Summerton, it's not a problem for you anymore. This is now confined to the northeastern part of Walker, up Alabama 257 around Curry. You need to be in a safe place right now.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Jason, let's look at the MacBook Pro. We got a picture of this thing. There it is. This is from Manchester. All right, you see the wall cloud? All right, and again, at this point, it doesn't look like there is a tornado down from that wall cloud. And again, this is the same storm. So I just wanted to give everybody a visual on this. And I'm sorry, I take that back. That was from Huntsville. We've got one photograph here coming from Manchester, and that is the one that was taken within the last couple of minutes. So what we have right here is a wall cloud that is a well-defined lowering of the right rear flank of the storm. It looks like a very well-organized storm, good inflow structure. But at that point in Manchester, we're not seeing any evidence of a tornado. And again, and this is from Billy Parker, and let me just remind everybody that if you have images, and like Jason said, do not put yourself in danger. Now, we've got about 700 trained sky watchers on our team that we've trained over the years in November. They know what they're doing, but we don't want anybody without training to go out there and try and take pictures outside if you're in a tornado warning. But if you clearly know that the storm is moving away from you and you are in a safe place, the pictures will be of great help today, but again, because of the infrastructure problem problems we're having. The address is pictures at abc3340.com, and of course we can't show all of them on the air, but we show a bunch of them and we see them all in real time, and it is extremely helpful for us. So again, that is coming from Manchester. So again, let's go back to the radar, and I will give an all clear to Jasper. If you are watching or listening to us in downtown Jasper, all clear. Curry, stay in your safe place for about 5 more minutes.